We are live and it's a very special day today. It's actually International Women's Day and we love that. Don't we? We do love the whole concept of acknowledging and appreciating us women. And so today is a very special day and we're kicking off this Monday with interviewing Brandi Milloy. She is an absolute favorite mom, businesswoman, foodie, everything, TV host as well. She's got so many hats. So we're just going to see if she's on here. So we are so grateful that she took time out to fit us in to have this lovely chat. So I hope you guys have been having a good Monday.
Hi.
There she is, absolutely gorgeous as usual. Hi, Brandi. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm good. Oh, fantastic. Is everything okay over there? Is it? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I said it's International Women's Day. So what a great...
It is. Can you imagine? That shows you just how special you are. And you're doing it today. It didn't even occur to me.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, I really appreciate it because I know you've got a packed schedule, business, family life, you know, so I really do appreciate it. I'm just going to do your intro. Thank you so much, Grace and Rest, for saying we're two beauties. My head is swelling. I really love that. Okay, so I'm just going to do a really brief intro because, Brandi, it was so difficult for me to get your intro brief because you've been quite busy, I'd say, for the last decade and a half or 2 decades. You know, you've been a totally flag bearer. So our XL series guest this week is Brandi Meloy. She is a TV host, producer, food reporter, and a lifestyle and parenting expert. You may recognize her from starring in the Food Network series, Let's Eat. She's also appeared on Cooking Channel, Eat, This Now, and Food Network's Guy Fieri's Grocery Games, Food Network star, Chuck's Jr., and this is one woman. And look just how beautiful she is. This is too intimidating. In fact, in addition, she is a 4-time Miss America organization title holder and has appeared on the ABC reality game show Oprah's Big Give. So she's joining us today and we just want to make total welcome for her. Once again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to dig in and talk about things.
I know.
Plans.
Exactly. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm just going to dive right in. We both have something in common, being military kids, because you had moved around quite a bit when you were growing up. Now, moving around as a child was filled with tons of memories for me. Now, for you, it ignited the passion to travel, people, as well as experiencing other cultures, which comes with tasting your food as well. Now, the question is, how, from as little as 3 years old, how did you manage to get that chair to stand on in the kitchen with your mom? Asking and urging her to teach you how to bake and cook at that age, that was just so adorable. Yeah. How did that journey come about?
My mom. I mean, I do the same thing with my daughter. It's so important to me to encourage my children to participate in the kitchen, even if it gets and I think that that's the biggest thing, is to let go of thinking like you're going to do something like an adult and really try that experience through your child. And there's so many things to be learned in the kitchen, from transfer work to learning mathematics and science. And also just that bonding experience is so special to me. And some of my fond memories with my mom are in the kitchen.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Because the thing is, sometimes we get caught up with just trying to prepare a meal and your gorgeous little daughter wanders in. Sometimes I would be like, you know, not now. But when you do give them an opportunity to experience that, you know, we are like the contact with teaching, you know, even if they do go to school, we are like their first teachers, you know. So that is amazing, because that experience must obviously have something to do with where you are today, isn't it?
I just think it's really important that when you're in the home, you said it, you know, you said it correctly. You are your child's first teacher, and you have so much control in the four walls of your home to teach and to educate and to nurture your child. So why not start the lesson as soon as they're born?
That's true. And the earlier, the better.
Yes.
The earlier, the better. Fantastic. And Millie's, I mean, she's such an amazing girl. You know, she's been on more flights than my son, who's 9. Okay, so I was astonished to read how hard you worked and how long you indeed served for. One of your first jobs was washing dishes at Wendy's. That is so humbling. And you also worked as a cocktail waitress at Sullivan's Steakhouse, started and ran a dessert catering company as well. Now, the question I have is, what kept you motivated to keep pushing the envelope, even when you had low motivation jobs that were monotonous and filled with drudgery?
When I was a little girl, I couldn't wait to work. I couldn't wait to make my own money. And that was a huge force for me. I mean, I started like mixing nail polishes and creating my own colors at like 10 years old.
Oh my gosh.
To buy like bulk amounts of candy, and I started selling candy at school. I mean, I've always had this desire to make my own money. I paid for college on my own. I worked 3 jobs. The first that me and my husband lived in was 420 square feet. I mean, it's just something inside me, and it could be from stories that my dad would share about growing up, stealing ketchup packets from the diner and squeezing it into hot water to make tomato soup for him and his little sister. And just knowing that this country is so fantastic. You can be whoever you want to be. You can work wherever you want to work. You can make money. You can pursue whatever dreams you want. And I always thought that was so cool. And so working at Wendy's as a dishwasher was just my way of making money and finally like growing up and being a part of the real world. And I loved it. I mean, it's hard to tell me no, because I love working so much. I love contributing and doing things.
That's amazing, because the thing is, you know, people tend to just see where you are now and not appreciate the fact that you've got a journey that is real and was filled with no shortcuts, but pure resilience, hard work. That is amazing, because the fact that you shared the story about your dad, you know, we need to do so much for our kids where we pass down certain values in them, which basically would be like a pathway navigating them to their future, you know. And you said it that, you know, when you put your mind to it, even if you're somewhere, I mean, not Mars is too hot. I think, you know, wherever you are, if you do put your mind to it, you would actually make a difference of some sort. You know, you might not be Jeff Bezos, but you would get somewhere. Definitely.
It's so important that we immerse ourselves in other cultures and different worlds and different neighborhoods. My parents placed a huge emphasis on community service. And so some of my earliest memories are being at the soup kitchen and being very uncomfortable and very scared, but also realizing that these are real people, and this is what homelessness looks like. Both my parents are huge volunteers, and so I've been a part of different organizations since I was a little girl. And even just that, knowing that there are different people out there, learning about different parts of life, that can open your child's eyes to so much more. And it's really up to the parents to set that path.
That's a high bar for, you know, it's a perfect reminder for parents, because we can't just, you know, there's a lot that goes into bringing up a child. Right. So we're moving on to your educational background. Now, despite having a degree in English and journalism from the University of Arizona and having been in the beauty industry for over a decade, you gave yourself room to learn, you gave yourself room to grow and experience a whole different world in food, TV, and lifestyle. How did this transition come from you going from where you were and learning or being ushered into Pop Sugar as a company?
Yeah, well, going back to education, I love school so much. I love college, but school was never easy for me. So I had to study, and I had to get a tutor, and I had to stay late, and I had to go to the library. And that's one thing that I remind people is no one can ever take your degree away from you, not to mention the social aspect of college. So I, you know, college really helped me prepare to be a journalist. I did, you know, several internships where I learned how to script write and I learned how to storytell. And so I think once I graduated, I really felt confident as a journalist. And then from then on, it was really important to me to figure out, like, what is my interest? I tried hard news for a while. I tried politics. Human interest stories was something that was very exciting, pulling those stories out of people. But ultimately, I had the opportunity to work at Pop Sugar as a food and lifestyle host and producer, and to be able to marry my passions for food and people and job. That was just, I mean, it's the best thing in the world when you find that perfect fit.
Absolutely. You know, and the thing is, like, you were able to, the thing is, if you get stuck, some of us do get stuck, you know, like if you're in the beauty industry, there is that resistance to sort of gravitate towards changing industries. However slight or however big, there's a resistance to just changing, because sometimes we do have a lot of criticism coming from people saying, oh, how can you be here? You know, we're getting confused. What are you doing? What are you, you know, it can be quite hard. And the fact that you were able to fuse yourself, you know, from that foundation into somewhere else is amazing. And what you don't realize is, like, when I was doing your research, it helps to see real people being able to change, call it careers, and thrive where they are at. You know, it's so important, you know. And when I saw that, I said, I literally had to ask you a question about that, because it is so important. You know, people are watching and people need role models. It's real. It's real.
Well, I think it's also important to know that no hard work is beneath anyone. You know, in order to get something that you want, you have to work hard at it. And especially in the climate of where we are today, you have to pivot. You have to be flexible. You have to push yourself. Like, you have to be self-motivating. There's no one else that's going to do it for you. And that's the biggest thing to forget, is hard work is always going to be valued. So
absolutely,
go back to being a hard worker.
That's beautiful. We've got a comment from Seven Flower Lily 7, and she says that was what got me into experimenting new food ideas. So it's the whole concept of being able to have that fluidity to change, you know, and just be like a gorgeous little pantry, whatever it sways you, just gently sway in the breeze and not get blown off, innit? Okay, moving on to your career. Again, you've had a lot of defining milestones, Brandi, honestly. And I think you just been pretty the icing on the cake. But, you know, you've had a lot of milestones. You ran your own pageant company for 10 years, over 10 years. You worked in TV, ranging from Pop Sugar. You know, you were part of Oprah's Big Giveaway. You've been featured in Dr. Phil, KTLA, the Food Network series, you know, Chopped Sweets, to mention a few. Now, the thing is, what kept driving you, right, to keep achieving, thereby causing a ricocheting effect of excellence in your work, being recognized by organizations nationally and internationally?
What kept me driving? I think I love trying new things. I love hitting new milestones. I think it's important that you always evolve, you always grow, you always challenge yourself. You know, never be this time where you're just kind of going through the motions. And so for me, it's always about pushing those boundaries and chasing bigger and better dreams. And a practice that I always tell people to do is to write down the things you've accomplished, because there's a slippery slope when you start chasing and wanting and seeing all of these big goals. It's really important to remind yourself where you've come from and the things you've already accomplished. And so that balance is really important, so that you don't lose sight of all the things you've already done.
And the thing is, like, for some of us, you know, you'd achieve what, call it 1, 2, 3, and you just feel like, you know what, I've arrived, that's it, right? But the fact that you kept going on shows that there isn't a limit to your achievements. You can keep pushing that envelope. You can keep, you know, there's always one step further. You can always, you know, just keep going. Of course, within the balance of living, you know, healthy lifestyle. When I say healthy, like not over, you know, so it's amazing, honestly. And to think, I mean, you would see this on paper, and you would think you're talking to a woman in her 60s, but it's just Brandi. And she's quite, yeah, it's amazing, honestly. You know, you've done so well. And we see you here in Africa. I'm in Lagos currently, by the way.
Wow.
I'm not in Cape Town. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now as a wife and a mom, which is something that really speaks to me, you know, when you see fellow moms killing it, you're just like,
yes,
I need to do this. Okay, we've got an Atsy Mid says Brandi is so awesome. I agree. Such a joy following her professional and personal life. Thank you so much for that comment. And then we have Sohini. Did I get that right, Sohini? Sia, who says, no better day to know about your story and achievements. Inspiring. See? Lagos, we have someone from Lagos saying Lagos hearts. Yes, we're here. Okay, so now as a wife and a mum, I read with utmost relish your article on how you met Mr. A.
Oh, yes.
And how it in turn changed the trajectory of your life. You had said without his guardians and confidence in you, you would not have had the courage to achieve a lot of your achievements. You also highlighted being in a healthy, positive, God-led relationship gave you the strength to fly and indeed soar. Now, my question is, everyone is always up for positive relationship tip or experience. Could you tell us a little more on how starting the family with Mr. A was a high point in your personal and professional life?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think the key there is a God-led relationship, number one. That is the foundation of our relationship. It always has been. And we had the opportunity to go through marriage counseling before we got married. And so we really got to dive deep into our values and our non-negotiables and what's important to us and how we want to experience marriage, how we want to experience life, and then more importantly, how we want to raise children. And so we talked about all of these things before we were even married. And I think that asking those hard questions, having those conversations with your partner is crucial so that you both are on the same page and there's no surprises. So family, finances, children, all of the things. And there's so many amazing resources online that can guide you through there. I have some articles on my blog, brandymeloy.com, questions you should ask before you get married. But yeah, I don't think there's enough emphasis placed on how important it is to find a life partner. You know, it's almost like when you have a baby, there's all this focus about the fun stuff, the nursery, wedding and decorating and all the things. And when the things are gone, what is important is that bond and that relationship. I give my husband so much credit for encouraging me. I couldn't do so many of the things, whether it's him helping figure out childcare with me or just giving me that encouraging prayer before I audition for an opportunity. And so my tip is do all of that work with your partner. It's not too late. You can even do it now. We do something on Thursdays and Sundays where we just disconnect from everything and we sit facing each other and we just have conversation so that we can save things that we need to talk about for that like family meeting or that one-on-one time with each other. And so that's what it is. It's communication, it's conversation, it's connecting.
I really, honestly, you got me when you said he would say a prayer for you just before you have an audition. And also the fact that you disconnect, because I think disconnecting is something that a lot of people find difficult doing in today's world. You know, social media is constantly calling, is on a 24-hour clock. It never ends, you know. So sometimes on that whole quality time, you'd find yourself, you know, sitting on the couch, for instance, and you're on the phone and one person is, or both of you on the phone, you know, you even find people sitting in restaurants and, you know, there's just that disconnect, you know, which is, it's more now than it's ever been. I mean, in the days of my parents, you know, so hearing you talk about, it is proven to be a problem in relationships, because as much as you say communication, we all know communication is one of the keys to a healthy relationship. Right. But how do we communicate? Because now you've taken it to baby steps where you agree about communication, but some people would be like, okay, it's communication and that's it. But you say, Thursdays and stuff. Exactly, you are doing something practical in order to boost the communication level, you know, because even I have had issues in my relationship where you don't make time out for each other, because
Right.
we're like little hamsters. If you don't stop that ball, you keep, just going everywhere.
Yeah, it's easy
So
for life to hijack everything, and for you to, and I get it. There's some days where I'm like, I just want to zone out. I want to watch a good show, and we'll just lay down beside each other and watch a show together. But that's not experiencing each other. And so you have to schedule it in. We have a family calendar, put things in our calendars so that when we look at our schedule, we know when we have time.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. And if my husband's watching, I hope you heard that too. Okay, so let's talk food now. We're taking it down. I lost you for a minute.
There was just a little, yes, I see you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're talking about culinary therapy now. From your perspective, how important do you think this is? And have you personally experienced the positive benefits of culinary therapy?
What kind of therapy?
Culinary therapy, which is basically like cooking therapy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just the idea that when you cook and bake, it can be therapeutic and relaxing. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably 90% of the reason why people go back to those familiar flavors and those recipes, because it almost becomes like, mind, body, muscle memory when you're making those.
Absolutely.
And yeah, when I'm in the kitchen and making a favorite dish, I really zone out and I'm just one with my food. And I really like bake love into everything that I make, or cook love into things I make. It's so rewarding to, give a dish to my daughter or my son or my husband or my family and wait for them to like taste it, and to know that I can like single-handedly bring someone back to a memory or a moment in time with flavors and smells and textures, just like that, and be 100% there.
Oh my gosh, Brandi, you killed it. Basically like sights, sounds, tastes, textures, all of that. Our mothers, our grandmothers, we're calling it cooking therapy or culinary therapy now because it's actually like a thing. But they tapped into it, not even knowing that it existed. They were just doing it. It's like unconsciously, you're just basically doing it. And for me, I found out that you zone out, and for that moment, you're okay. And for that moment, you're not fixated on anything else outside of your pans, your cups, your measurements, tasting the flavors, hearing that sizzle. It really came to light for me during the first lockdown, and it sort of helped me cope. We do a lot of things unconsciously. So it's like bringing it to the conscious level where people would begin to approach it from a more, sensory and all of that, So I love what you said about, and the idea to do videos with your kids. Was that your idea or Mr. A's idea?
Definitely mine. No, my husband, he's becoming less interested with being on social media. It was me, and I think it was, I'm such a journalist, and like I love scrapbooking and making memories and then having photos to look back at. So it was just an extension doing that. But now that I run a momhood show, which is a mom community online, it really was about showing other moms that you don't wait until your child is older to invite them to help you. Give them tasks early on. That is your time to not only get their help. I mean, my daughter helps me cook breakfast and do dishes, and she's 3 years old. So it was also just about showing and being an example for other families.
That's beautiful, because I watched the video on, I think some of us are just, would you say you fused into parenting quite naturally? Because I watched a video on YouTube when you've got an amazing channel. You guys should check it out. There was a video I watched about potty training. And that was just, I watched it and I said, my goodness, why didn't I see this video when my son was going through potty training? It was just, you were just such a natural, fusing yourself into that role so naturally. And it was just, an incredible video to watch.
Well, I think it's important that we do a lot of listening as parents. And, you know, just as important as it was preparing for being a parent, I prepared for pregnancy, like months before we got pregnant. And then during pregnancy, I prepared for parenting. I prepared for what kind of mom did I want to be? What are the things that I want to take from my parents that I loved? What are things that I don't want to continue? I think that we have so much power in being able to parent and recreate our own story and our own tradition. And so I try to just be mindful of that, because it's so powerful what you do as a parent. And want her to have, you know, the things that I didn't get to experience, or the things that I did. And that's the beauty of being a mom.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I love that, you know, the fact that we can continue on things we like, you know, and begin to do things we, you know, video keeps, you know, and yeah, that was, I really enjoyed watching that. Okay, so moving on again, with the world grappling with the pain of the pandemic, the concept of self-care has never been more emphasized. To be kinder to one another and to ourselves, as well as take in deeper appreciation of things in and around us. I particularly enjoyed your post on Valentine's Day, where you talked about ways to relieve stress. So the question here is, describe your typical self-care day. What do you do to unwind, de-stress, and rejuvenate after a long, hard day?
I say the same thing about children. We need sun and we need water. So for me, being outside, moving my body, it's funny, I'm not a big workout person, but I love to be active. I love to go on hikes and put my toes in the sand and go to the beach and go on long walks. And so that's huge for me, connecting with nature, listening to the stillness of nature, the sound of the leaves, the sound of birds. That's crucial. And then water, whether it's making sure that I'm hydrated physically or being in the water, you know, like taking a bath. And again, both of these things, if you allow yourself, you can really be still and have the ability to listen to yourself instead of all the outside noise. And so those are my 2 tips. You don't really need much to do it.
You know, I love the fact that you've said a lot of things that are free, because sometimes we think we have to go to a big spa or go on a big fancy vacation. You know, with the world going through what it's going through now, we can't move around as much as we'd love to. So having those simple things, you know, like going bare feet, that takes me back to when I was a kid running around, you know, and just connecting with nature. These things are free, you know, so it's something that we all can, you know, you don't have to be a billionaire to do it, right? It's self-care, you know, and if we begin to approach it more deliberately, you find it's more therapeutic. You find that you're loving yourself more, and you sort of start understanding, you know, how to quieten yourself when you do need to.
And that's why affirmations are so important. I do affirmations with both my children. I do them myself. I write them down and I say them out loud. And sometimes I say mirror and I just repeat them. And I believe, you know, your body believes what your mind says, right? So thoughts become things become real things. And so I think it's important that you also do that. You practice affirmation, affirm yourself.
That's true.
Let someone else speak those affirmations to you and accept them. I don't know if it's a female thing or what, but it's so hard for women to accept some type of or a compliment from others. We feel like we have to give one back right away or say no. No, accept it, relish in it, and believe it.
That advice couldn't have come at a more better time for IWD, honestly, because when you give a woman a compliment, you know, it's how do I put it? We find a way to say no. I'm not beautiful, or no. Like if my husband gives me a compliment, sometimes I'll find myself saying no, but I've got a big belly. No, you know, just accept it, you know, and it's part of self-care where we are kinder to ourselves, because the person in our heads, before we complain about people being critical of us, the person in our head is the one we need to give a slap to shut up. So we can, you know, we can just be. we could just be without any complications whatsoever.
Yeah, just receive it next time.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for that. Right, winding down. I've got my eye on the clock, by the way, so I don't get carried away because I know myself.
Well, we can always start too.
Okay, so now as a home cook who has had a lot of experience in the kitchen, my word, I'm going to link an article I read of you, seeing you in the studio kitchen. My word, it was amazing. It was beautiful. I'm going to link that out so you guys can check it out. So now, from cooking to baking to trying out kitchen hacks, you've spent a lot of time in the kitchen, and I reckon is one of the ways for you of you being in your element. So basically, how would you advise folks out there to mentally get out of the mode of conventional cooking or approaching cooking like it's a chore and begin to approach cooking from a more sensory, gratifying and creative perspective?
Oh, yeah. Oh, let's get into that. Well, first, I think it's important to just shake everything. Literally have it dampens on the cellular level when you just shake your body. So dance it out, get into the kitchen and decide. Like, I think a lot of people are scared about making a mess. They get so stressed out, especially a lot of moms that I know, because they just want that control, like a mess. You have to let it go because cooking is experimental. And so sometimes when you stop to clean or you stop to put something away, it's going to take everything else. It's going to like stop the momentum of just trying new things. So I think that's important. And then also doing it with someone, whether it's with a partner or a friend or your children, that's important. And not having any preconceived notions of what's going to happen. So maybe if you're uncomfortable at first, you can start with a recipe. You know, recipes tell you exactly what to do, folks. It gives you the ingredients. But if you can let that go and just try to cook based on instinct and taste and sight, then try. And as a reminder, I think it's so important people know I am not culinary trained. I am not a chef. I am an at-home cook. I'm a mom. I'm a person that just likes food. I love going out to eat. And then eventually I decided to try to recreate things I would eat out. Very much experimental, and don't get caught up on things have to be perfect. Just let it go. Even if it's something as simple as making like cheesy eggs.
That's beautiful, Brandi. Honestly, because Sohini Sia says dancing and cooking is the best combination to create a mess. Totally acceptable mess. Honestly, Brandi, you called me out without even knowing, right? Have you got a camera in my kitchen? So basically, I'm one of those people. I can be quite controlling in the kitchen. You know, I need everything to be symmetrically, you know, tidy. So even the kids come in like, I'll do it for you. Go and wait for your food. The fact that, you know, just let your hair down. It doesn't have to be regimented. You know, I think we left the barracks when we were kids, you know, so no military rows in the house. Not every time, but sometimes it is actually quite therapeutic to just dance in the kitchen and have a glass of wine and just be a mess, make a mess.
Yes, amen to that.
Amen. So I will definitely, you know, I hope my husband's not watching because he's going to grind me. I know. So winding down, I read about how passionate, and this was very close to my heart, how passionate you are about giving back to the society. You spent 3 weeks in Uganda with the Palliative Care Association, helping with funding and optimizing their online presence. The organization with both Road to Hope, is that Sunny?
Yes, Sunny.
Or Minnie?
I think.
Oh, bless. Right, so was that, when you went to Uganda to help out, was that your first time in Africa, and did you try any of the local cuisine when you were out there?
Yeah, so that was my first time to Africa. I went to Uganda. It was the most amazing experience ever, and I cannot wait to go back. I can't wait to take my family and my children. And I had amazing food. But what's so funny is one of the best spaghettis I've ever had was in Uganda.
Really? You're kidding!
Yes. But that just goes to show that, like,
Unbelievable.
So personal. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I've tried amazing cuisines all over the world, and it's so interesting, and it's such a good reminder that each person has their own way of making and preparing food. And you know,
Yes.
think that food is going, you know, all the Italian food in Italy is going to be amazing, and it might not be. You know, like, cooking is just so personal. So that was
Yes, it
something
is.
really surprising to me, was trying pasta in Uganda and thinking, oh my God,
I'm just like surprised. That's amazing. That is so amazing. And how was your time there with, you know, the Road to Hope Foundation?
you
And
know, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but also one of the best, because palliative care and hospice care is hard. You know, this is people that have been told they have 6 months or less to live. And it's also a good reminder for everyone that life is so precious. Every day is a gift. And, you know, these people have been given a time, not knowing that today could be our last day of life. And so I think that working with organizations like that, it reminds you just how precious life is. And when you're at the end of your life, what is going to be important to you? Not things. It's never things, it's people, it's connection. And so, I really try every single day.
that was like when I read about it, and the fact that you contributed to their first Hollywood fundraiser. That is just, you know, a reminder, as you said, about our lives, you know, and also there's always an opportunity to give back. You know, are we utilizing it as much as we can? You know, that's a question for everyone to sort of answer, but that is such an amazing thing you did, and it's very encouraging as well. So, fun part, 3-punk question.
Okay.
What is your absolute favorite guilt-tripping, naughty dessert, and why?
Ooh. You know, this sounds so simple, but I love like a warm chocolate chip cookie with just the perfect amount of flaky sea salt, underbaked in
Oh,
the center, chewy, but then has like this doughy, like really, really soft center, but chewy, and then maybe a crispy exterior, and then cold vanilla
Brandi.
right on top. I'm a sucker for anything a la mode. So the hot, the cold, the chocolate, the richness, maybe it's a dark chocolate, so it really has that bold flavor. And then you can just taste every little bit of the butter and the sugar that makes up that chocolate chip cookie, and just that slippery smoothness of the vanilla bean ice cream. That combination on a spoon is out of this world. That's my guilty pleasure.
Oh my God, Brandi, you're such a foodie. My word, did you hear the descriptive words? I'm salivating here and literally have to hold my jaw up. My goodness, you sound like a chef from Paris or somewhere exotic. Wow. Wow, you are a foodie. I'm so super impressed. And
Sounds
now
good.
you've got me hungry. I need to get vanilla ice cream tonight and some chocolate chip. I don't know if I'm going to get sea salt, but I'll try. Thank you for that. Literally, thank you. Okay, now what sort of wine would you and Mr. A gravitate to when you do have a chance to open up a bottle? Is it red, white, or rosé?
So he introduced me to wine, and I decided that, I don't know, I had some really fantastic almond champagne over the weekend, which was really cool, from Wilson Creek.
Almond champagne.
Almond flavor was so cool. But when it comes to wine, red wine, I love a full-bodied cab. And you know, we love wine with chocolate, which is so funny because we both have a sweet tooth. You know, just a little bit of chocolate and then the little sip of wine, or cheese. I actually don't like drinking alcohol unless I'm eating. So I'm not like a big, like, I need a cocktail. Like, no. If I'm going to have a cocktail, then I want like the cheese spread, and the crackers and the nuts and the fruit. So then I just end up eating everything.
Exactly, because that helps with the alcohol, doesn't it?
Yeah, those flavors really come alive.
See, so Hini Sia says the description is making me salivate in a totally different part of the world. Brandi, what are you doing? Honestly. Okay, so could you tell us, your bedtime routine with Millie and Sophie?
Sunny.
Millie and Sunny, sorry.
No, I know you know his
Millie
name.
and Sunny.
I've said it before. So every night they take a bath, and before they get in the bath, I put essential oils in their diffusers in their rooms. So love oils. We do it in our room too. It just sets the tone. Sometimes I'll let them choose what they want. So a little lavender, a little citrus, something calming, a little geranium. And so we drop the oil in their diffuser. And so it just puffs up. And so when we, after we take that nice bath and we go into the room, it has this calming, calming effect.
Absolutely.
Our children, so we both read to them, and we take turns. My husband will usually read to my son, I'll read to my daughter, and then we switch. And we say our prayers. So we thank God for our day, for keeping us healthy and safe. We ask God for us to be blessings in other people's lives, give us those opportunities where we can serve, we can give back. And we make sure that they know that we love them and they're safe and they're okay. And then we talk sometimes about what we're going to do the next day. So that's usually our routine together. And it also has helped since they were little. I always tell parents, our kids have always slept by themselves. After my son was 6 or 8 months, his own room. We always told them, like, Mommy and Daddy are here. You're safe. You're okay. I think it's important for children to know that, you're always going to be there and you're with them. And
do they sleep with the lights out?
Yes. Yeah. So we don't have any night lights. They both have sound machines. So that's another thing. They sleep with just like a little white noise hum in both their rooms. Millie has stars that project on her ceiling, but Sunny doesn't have any light.
Yes. That is so sweet. I think there's nothing more special than hearing another mom, you just sort of get tips like, I love that, essential oils and, lavender is one of those oils that would help you to sleep better. It's very calming. I love the fact that you do that. And it's definitely one tip that I've stolen. I'm sorry, but I'm going to do it as well. That is so sweet.
Have a diffuser, you can just get essential oil and put it in a spray bottle with a little bit of water and spray it on their pillows, and give them the opportunity to spray their own room. And so it's this trigger that it's time to relax, it's time to be calm. We play some relaxing music while we're in the bathtub. The lights are always dim. Everything changes when it's time to go to bed. And I always say, like, we need to honor our body. We need to respect our body. Our body is telling us it's tired. This is how we get strong. This is how we can rest and grow. Our brain gets bigger at night. And it's important that they know that sleep is essential to take care of ourselves.
Brandi, honestly, if it was here, now it's here. My word.
I'm just walking to make sure little Sunny, he peeked in and then shut the door.
Where is he? Because it's 40 minutes now, isn't it?
Say hi.
Hello, Sunny. Hello. He's so cute.
Oh my gosh. He's getting nervous, I can tell.
Hi. How are you? Hello. Oh, he's so cute. Is Millie at home?
He's so sweet. No, so she went to her horseback riding lesson.
Oh, bless.
So she helps brush the horses and take.
Wow. She's brushing horses already.
Yeah, she's always been an animal lover, and so we've always encouraged her. So she walks dogs, she takes care of horses, and that's another.
That's amazing.
I knew my daughter had a connection with animals since she was a baby, and I'm allergic to cats and dogs, but I put a post in my neighborhood asking if there was anyone that needed their dogs walked, so that my daughter could get that connection and feel that responsibility.
Yes, absolutely, without totally missing out.
Yeah.
Brandi, thank you so much. Thank you so much. This has been so amazing. It's been literally like, You're such an amazing. Is that it? Oh, he wants mommy to carry him, isn't it? Oh,
he wants me to see his toy. Oh, nope, he's nervous. Bye-bye.
Kids and technology. Thank you so much, Brandi. It's been so inspiring, so amazing being here and just having this chat with you. I've learned so much, and I'm sure everyone else has learned a couple of things, or one or two things. You know, I've learned a lot, and I'm going to do the lavender right now.
Oh, good.
Honestly, thank you so much
for taking time to do research on me, to learn my story, and giving me a platform to share even more. I can't wait to share this interview with my followers who weren't able to maybe tune in.
I'm going to send it over to you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Brandi. Do have a fantastic day.
Yes, you as well. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
And say hello to Mr. A. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Cheers. Thank you, everyone. Bye.